Welcome to my version of Constitution. Not just will it live or die, but do we need to smell the roses that will appear upon the death of our Constitution? Because that's the direction that the leader of our country right now is taking. So I'm going to go quickly back over a few things about the Constitution, which some of you may or may not recognize as being our guide to what happens in this country. This small book right here contains all the rules that people are entrusted with that take care of our country, and they're bound to follow by oath of office that they take to follow the rules that are down in the Constitution. As a beginning, I thought it might be good to just read what the oath of office is, and in that way you might recognize where it has gone astray. When a person is elected to a position, before taking the position, they take an oath of office for whatever they have been elected to. And this is what they do. I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully execute the office of, in this case, President of the United States, and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. This is the playbook by which they are guided. They cannot do things freely without the guide of this as to what it is they want to do. If you want to order up tea, you could probably do that. But we're going to go through a list of things that our present president has chosen to do with no concern for the fact that he is not following the groundwork laid out that he has as a guide to what he should do. His first term in office was not abruptly ended in the middle of it, but COVID came in and things sort of were at a lull. The country survived, they all got better, or they died, or whatever. But he thought that the second time he was up for election, that the election was rigged, and he was the leader of the rebellion of January 6th on 2020. But he will never admit to that. Instead, he let the people go, and somebody else came into office for 4 years. At the end of those 4 years, there had been a dispute at the border about keeping immigrants and those wanting to come into the country, that the Senate had come to an agreement that this was something that both the Republicans and the Democrats could follow as a solution to the border problem. The Senate passed that new concern, but when it hit the House of Representatives, although he was not an elected official at this time, in stepped a man called Mr. What's his name? Oh, Mr. Trump. And, Donald Trump said, "Don't vote for that. That's what I want to have as my groundworks for getting elected in this next election, and it's coming up very shortly." So they did not pass in the House of Representatives the agreement that the Senate had put together to work out the problems at our border. Now, I'm using the word Senate, and we have a Senate and a House of Representatives in the Congress. That's the name given to the two together that belong to the legislative branch. That's where the money is controlled. That's where all of the things that want to get done get controlled. There are a lot of people in there, and they are voted in, they are appointed in, or they are hired to be in the legislative department. The people over here in the other department where the president resides is the executive part, and they are elected, appointed, or hired. You will not see any place in this guide the word H-I-R-E or released from office. They are, I didn't spell that right. It's F-I-R-E. They are not the hired people. They are not fired. That word doesn't exist in here. So, day one, when the president won the election on basically his role of what he will do to close the border, people thought that was a wonderful idea because there were millions that had come over in the past 4 years. And so he was voted in. He had promised a whole bunch of other things, but as you will find out as I'm talking, that none of those things that he had said he might do did not get done. And so that's why I say, if we don't act now, our country may die. And we will have to put roses upon our country in order to give it a good smell, because right now the odor of our country isn't very good. Okay, let's find out what the first things were that our new person who has defied the rules in here. It says in section 14, Amendment 14, section 3, that if he was involved in an uprising, he shouldn't be here. But he is, because somebody said, Colorado, you can't be the only state of this union that has taken him off the ballot. You have to put him back on. And so the people in the Washington area said, oh, let the people decide. They could not come up with a conclusion that he does not belong there because he fits that description to a T. All right, so what did he do? Day one, very first thing, we have a new Department of Economic Efficiency. And there is a person who's going to head it. Nobody's voted on it. It's been appointed. It's already decided. And already filled with people. Who are these people? And I'm going to hit a lot of places where there are people that don't seem to be of any... all right, let's find out where they are. The first thing that was done after the formation of this department was the firing. Nowhere in here is that word used. Of over 1 million people over in the departments in the legislature. They were replaced by people that were not elected. They were just replaced with people. Do we know those people? No, but they were put in there. How about the people that went into the Department of Economic Efficiency? We don't know those people either. And then we come up to the third area where we don't know the people. When the borders were closed, our fearless leader decided that we need to have a whole army, that's not even a good word for them, group, I suppose, of people. Again, we don't know them. They come from a branch someplace in the government, but they wear masks and keep themselves well covered. They don't talk. They just take people off the street because they have been told by the president to take 3,000 people off our streets that are alien to this country or immigrants that shouldn't be here. every day. So what does that particular thing do? One person gets taken and he is deported by plane with 200 others to El Salvador at the expense by the president, who doesn't have any money to control, that's over there, of not just $1 million to have these 200 people put in jail, but $6 million for that flight of those 200 people. One person was able to be given some words of wisdom to require a due process, which is in this Constitution. And then after months of bad treatment in the worst prison, I understand, in the world, he was released, and it was found out that somebody had overcovered his tattoo with the image that would say he is a member of some group that he was not a member of. So we have now one person who has been taken off the streets and put away in a prison. And this is known as intimidation, rule by intimidation. One example, put 1 million plus people in fear that they would be taken off the streets because of the mandate by President to take 3,000 people a day was their quota. And so we have a world right now of all these people, these who have come across the border legally, being chased down in the streets or at their job, and the fear of going out in public is very great. The people who are being cast off also happen to be the workers that give us in our country the food that we eat. They are the farmers' helpers. They are the people who keep the meat grinders going. There are all kinds of jobs that they do. And they have permission to be here. And they have a job to do. But no, they could be wiped off the street because they have to meet a quota of 3,000. What do these people look like that we don't know? They look like bank robbers. If you've ever seen a photo on TV of them doing what they think is their job. So we have all these things going on. The next thing that comes up before, I have all kinds of things that I want to talk about, but the president chose to give pardons to all the people who were in the assault on January 6th, even those who were convicted of guns and whatnot. So we have, let me find where I am in talking, a president who feels that he can do whatever he wants to do. And so we have covered quite a bit just in the time that I have started here. So we come up to a lot of things like the education of our people and things like that, that I'm going to get to over here in just a minute. But the budget, because I think everybody needs to know where the money is going. And the budget right now is, I did make a nice little copy of something here, and it's on the back of. Well, I can, why can't I find it? Because it's on the back of something. Just quickly, money that was appropriated for covering the border was over billions of dollars. And the defense budget was extremely high. I can't believe it's something like $369 billion. But I have one injection right now that I'm going to put in here that I hadn't thought about before. Our Defense Department, which is all of these people in the Army, the Navy, and all these other kind of things, They are out there to protect our country and the budget that they have, and also includes the production of boats and ammunition and planes. All kinds of things are included in this defense budget. But the Pentagon, which is one of the head departments in the defense, has never been audited to find out if there is any corruption taking place in the giving of businesses, the contracts in the Defense Department. So it brings up a very interesting situation. Our president is not supposed to get any more than his allotted salary. He's not supposed to get presents or anything else from anybody else. But he got that plane for 258, I think it was millions of dollars, but it could have been in the billions. But his sons have all been included in the companies that got the contracts for the development of all kinds of things in the defense budget in the billions. And you cannot believe that they would not be ending up with millions plus as salaries for just being on the board. We don't know, but there is all that opportunity just to have your name and your number on there, and so who knows? The president may not win out with all of those things, but he has found a way to handle money. Tariffs. And tariffs, you probably already know, if you want to give us something or sell us something, have us sell a product, you get charged a tariff. And that tariff goes, they say, into the Treasury. But that company that is coming in needs to get repaid for putting it over here. So over there where the customer is, he gets charged extra so that the company that has the goods to come in has been repaid in a way for all that he has already done. So this tariff is a win-win situation for the president because he doesn't have to worry about the prices. And so what does he do when inflation was even mentioned to him? He turns to the public. Oh, they may have to live with it for a short while, but they will quickly understand what it is that is going on or that is needed. He always used that same gesture. All right, let's find out what is, besides intimidation, our president seems to be absolutely convinced that anybody that is doing a good thing must be doing something wrong. A nurse, a doctor, 3 years on a specialty that only 3 people in this country can do that specialty, has gone to her country. He has forbid that that person come back to this country, so now we only have 2. What kind of leadership is that? That is intimidation. So those people, what about the fact that now not just a few countries, oh, I forgot to mention Canada and Mexico. Oh, let's get a big tariff on them so that we will get rich. But they don't like it, and so they're going through the same thing that every other country is going through. That wasn't enough for our president. He has found almost every country that has anything coming into this country be put on tariffs. There are other things that are being put on all of these countries. What is not being allowed to come into our country? People who want to come and see our country. I don't blame them for wanting to come to see the country we used to know. It is a beautiful place. The people in it take very good care of what it is. But we have all kinds of things that are going on, and I almost purposely didn't put the list of in my place here because in just a few minutes I'm going to go into something else. But the fact that everything has happened in a negative way with this president, the look that other countries have upon us, a country they used to love to come to and admire, they have questions about what is going on in that country. Their opinion of us has gone as low as it can be. So let's find out, is there anything to take care of all of the problems that are on this piece of paper that we as people could possibly do to get us back on the right track before we die from the absurd use of power to become our first I'm not going to use the word, I could, but I won't. The items for concern, I just have a short list right here, are gun control. Oh, right now, the federal troops in our states, and Social Security. Social Security is this particular company, organization has started to do what I think is one of the most wonderful things that could happen. We people are not going to sit by the side. We do not have a vote of the people that should be leading us anymore, because they are changing the land requirements for a person's vote. And in Texas, our president said, make sure you change those landmarks so that we might get, or I might get, 6 more representatives from that state, and then we'll have a good majority in the House and the Senate. Well, those are things that he has done, and he does it so openly that it is almost disgraceful. But the fact that he has put troops into our cities and wants to put them into the cities to control crime. All of the cities he wants to put these people, our forces, the first time any president has ever done that, are all Democratic. If you're a Democrat, it's as if you're as good as trash. And he has highlighted in his going on to pinpoint those. Where did he do it first? In the No King uprising. I shouldn't call it an uprising because it was well controlled in all states by the ACLU as one of the holding, to make sure that we have a voice saying no kings. We don't want somebody out there telling us what to do. We want him to show that he thinks of us as people. 6 months into his first term this year, his second term, he finally got called in to go and investigate the flooding that killed over 100 people. 6 months he took him to recognize that there were people out there who are in need of aid from the government departments, and there are a lot of them. And yet he was going to close that department, FEMA, that would have allowed them to get the alarm system they needed in order to put an alarm in the middle of the night to get people out because the flood came so quickly. But does he care about the people of our country? He hasn't shown it yet. And I have some thoughts. We could have a party called the People's Party that would be put on every ballot as a non-political party. It is a party of concerns, and the concerns would be accumulated by the people organizing this party, and they would put on the ballot such things as, do you agree that our president is doing a good job? If not, the following: should he stay in office? Should he, and continue with things that were either a yes or no? They would all be questions, and they might not have anything to do with the president. They might have to do with Social Security, which is my big papers over here. Right now, our Social Security budget is, or source of payment, has been drained by other organizations. We need, and I applaud the company for giving us ballots to put our thoughts into the paper. Would you believe that mail is the only private way of communicating amongst people? If you talk on the phone, if you go to the bank and they pull up your itinerary, I myself is a good example. They know that I have a cell phone. They don't happen to know that I can't use it because I never plug it in and I don't like it. But there on my synopsis of who I am is that I have a cell phone. I only got it about 3 months ago. So why in the world is that on my personal thing? So privacy can almost always only be done by our U.S. mail or any other carry paper. If it's on the keyboard, if it's on the screen, it's not private anymore. And so my thought is, as you a people recognize that you do have a way of communicating the needs that we have to put back into our country. One, we can do it by voice. We can do it over all of the electronic devices, but we also have the power of voting. And if we have enough votes on an issue, that could make a change and an amendment to our Constitution that we, the people, have decided. I would call it the People's Party, because it would involve all the people of this country. So if you were a member of the No Kings Day presentation of concern, go to the people that you know. Try to see if they might be interested, and it might take you standing outside the grocery store saying, we would like to put our name, the People's Party, a non-political organization, or whatever it means that we're not talking about people, on the ballot, so we have a vote, a voice in how our government is going to be run. I'm running out of time, and I probably have 75 more minutes to go, but it is important for you to recognize that you are not just sitting out there wondering, what is this country going to be like for my children? Remind yourself that your family forerunners have defended our country time and time again against oppression. And we are under oppression right now that is sinking our ship. So please, be concerned. If you have an opportunity to, and somewhere out there, there are people as concerned as I am, but they probably don't know which way to go, I might suggest getting ourselves petitions to put on, the purpose being our concern under our heading as People's Party of the issues that are being held not in our favor, not with the rules of the Constitution, but only by the word of mouth. And I will end by the comment, permission has been given to our president by our wonderful Supreme Court. They have augmented, supplied him with all kinds of, yeah, you can do that. They are not fulfilling their obligation either. So with those words, I'm going to end, hoping that I might even be back on again just to talk about this if I can get more words. But there are people out there, there are organizations that are concerned. And gun control. What could we do to do gun control? The same thing that banks are doing. Have them carry a necessary, that they have a gun permit. I need my driver's license to get my money out of the bank. So why should a person carry a gun without permission on his person? That might be one rule every state could do. This work with the federal troops, that is so against our Constitution, so against the principles of our country. I hope you have sons that you can talk to and try to make them understand that this is a wrong thing that they are being subjected to. Social Security, please, we need to have honored our belief that our country was there to pay us back for what we put in. And with those words, I hope that our country is not going to die. It is a beautiful country. And there are all kinds of things that I could have covered today on just every place that has been offended by our president right now. And we are just, I hope, not just sitting there. We are thinking about what we can do. If you get something in the mail, money is not the object of this, although it's very expensive to do this. The people in the government are doing it because they are draping in money. 71% of the money all over our nation is controlled by only the upper crust, not the low income, not the middle income, not the high income, but the upper crust control 71 billions of dollars. I don't even know if it's billions, probably trillions of dollars, which was the evaluation of our country. And yet we have poverty. The government is not doing its job towards the people, which is their responsibility, and that's what we elected to put them in. Those of you who voted for Trump, think twice about what your children are going to face if you don't face your concern. It's not your obligation, but your concern, and maybe you'll think of it as your obligation to put a man who is not a good president in control by the people. There are all kinds of ways to control the situation. He could stay in office without any ability other than to be a head and to be a representative for our country. There are all other kind of ways of keeping him in office, but taking away all the bad things and putting back all the good that he has eliminated. So think twice. If somebody approaches you to be a member of the People's Party or whatever it comes to be called, don't turn your back. Turn your concern so that you will be a part of the vote that can make it to the agenda in the Constitution that presidents and everybody else in government have to follow the rules in the book, just like they're playing a game. They cannot make fouls without being cast out. And our government right now has made many, many fouls. I want to smell the roses because the roses are beautiful. I don't want to see them on any bad situation. And I'm going to part with those words. I've overspent my time, but somebody can maybe cut and so that it will fit into the time block that I have been allotted. So don't take it as the way we have to live. We have a choice. I hope you make a choice if the opportunity comes so that we can change the direction that our country is taking. Thank you. This is Margo Jones. I never did introduce myself, so I'll say it now. I'm Margo Jones, and I am a constitutionalist, if you want to know. I really believe, ever since I heard that this man was unhonorable, that I should be concerned. And I am concerned, and I hope you become concerned, and that we can figure out a way of changing the direction our country has taken before it has an opportunity to no longer be our country. I might come again just to sit all the things that I left out after I see what I did say. Bye for now.